Why, hi there. It's me. It's Uncle Ron, live on YouTube, not Twitch. How are you? And don't know. What are you pointing? Yes, that's where you point. And joining me tonight to show off his game, family football, and to preview the some weird football game in Vegas, the Taylor Swift Bowl. Is that what they're?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes, that's about
Um,
it.
is Mike in the truck? How are you, Mike?
Tired. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks. I was supposed to
Good.
be on earlier today and then realized at 11:30 that I had a meeting. So I could not stream earlier. So, but yet here we are now, and we're going to be showing off.
Minus your noon baseball game.
Uh,
Understandable, but minus your noon baseball game.
yes, minus my new baseball game. So we're going to be doing the San Francisco 49ers and Kansas City Chiefs playing in the middle of the desert somewhere for some championship. I'm not quite
Thing.
sure what, but
Yes.
anyway, if we had two people and we lost them. How about that? That's pretty good. Usually I wait till,
What a way to start. What
told a
is this?
couple
Nah, we're out of here.
boring stories before I lose people usually, but not usually right from the start. So for people who watch later, talk a little bit about what family football or family fun football is.
It is family football. The reason Ron mentioned that is because someone has labeled the game family fun football when doing replays. And I'm like, that's actually not a bad name. Family football is a card and dice game. It's completely free, and it's a drive-by-drive game that just needs a couple dice. And with the download, you get every team from 1950 to now, and also is all 133 of the Division One college football teams. And the game is, again, it's one or two players actually. You can roll your own dice, and it's based off of a very simple concept. It's going off of what's called an SRS rating, and you can find this rating at Pro Football Reference for every team. There is an overall team rating and an offensive and a defensive rating for each team. And the SRS means simple rating system. It means it's based off of the team's points scored versus points against and their strength of schedule. So there's a general number that basically can be utilized throughout history. So what the game tries to do is if you're getting all the dice rolls, it's going off of how well your offense and your defense did in real life. So if a team scored 24 points on average in a game and allowed 17, if you get all the rolls and the rolls hit with the actual percentages, you should win a game 24 to 17, just being hypothetical.
Okay.
So, but you also have to compare your data with the other team's performance. So that's where it can get all mixed up and there can be some balance. So it's it's designed to be very simple. It's easy to understand. You knock out a game in about 15 minutes.
Well, I'm sure it'll take us longer to do that than that tonight, but this should be fun. This should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Now, Mike will
Me
be
too.
coaching the San Francisco 49ers, and he doesn't have Christian McCaffrey whispering in his ear. And I will be coaching the Kansas City Chiefs, and Jason Kelsey, the Kelsey brothers refused my invitation to come for this. I don't understand. I was just told to.
Well, I mean, George Kittle's a heck of a tight end
Yes, he
too.
is. Yeah, they're
A
good.
heck of a tight
They're
end.
good. They're good. All right, so let's go
Okay.
down to the field. Nick can actually see us while we do this. So I'm going to roll, and you're going to roll.
Yes. Before we begin, once you start, you choose your teams. I've made this for Ron because there's a sheet that has all the teams in a given season. So we just have San Francisco and Kansas City. There are a couple things you need to agree to before you begin. For
Mm-hmm.
starters, is there a 2-point conversion? Because you can go, if you want to play with the old rules where there wasn't. I say we use the actual modern day rules. So there
Yeah.
is a 2-point option if you want to go for two. The second is you agree, is there overtime? Because, and if there is, what kind of overtime? Because what if you're playing an older game that there was no overtime? And what if you're playing a game that there's only one overtime because it's regular season, but since this is a playoff game, there's unlimited overtimes.
Right.
So we would determine, okay, 2-point conversion is in, we will have multiple overtimes if
Okay. Yes.
necessary. Okay.
All right. So here's how we're going to do the toss. You do a 2d6 roll. I do a 2d6 roll. Whatever's higher, you can decide what you want to do.
Correct. So each of you rolls a pair of dice.
Right.
Each coach rolls a pair of dice. So I'll go ahead and roll. We'll just do it off camera, Ron.
Yep.
Okay. I rolled an 11.
I rolled a 33.
Okay. So Ron is Kansas City. He has one to toss. Now this is the option. Do you have the defer option? Kick, receive, defer. So what does Ron want to do?
I'm old school. I'm receiving.
Okay. So San Francisco will kick off. Kansas City has the first possession.
All right.
So here's what we do.
Yep.
Okay. If you see with San Francisco, there is an overall SRS rating in the upper right. And for Kansas City, they have one as well.
So
There
it's
were
1175 for San Francisco, and Kansas City's at 375.
Okay. That's an overall. You can just play with who has the best overall. In this case, it's San Francisco. What this means is that the team with the higher SRS rating gets a 10-sided die advantage. The dice we're rolling is two 6-sided dice. The first dice is base of 10, so it'd be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and the second dice is 1 through 6. So whoever has the SRS advantage gets a 1 or a 10, if you will, bonus
Right.
on their dice roll by default every time. Okay. Now the other way to play is you'll see on the team cards an offense SRS and a defense SRS. The other way you can play, which is how we're going to, because some of this information isn't available for some teams. You compare the offense SRS with the defense SRS. So because the offense is facing the defensive unit. So for San Francisco, their offense SRS is a 7.1, and it's kind of hard for me to read. Let me call it up.
In Kansas City's is a 4-4
Okay, here
for
we
the
go.
defense.
So yeah, San Francisco has an SRS rating of 7.1, and Kansas City's defense has a 4.4. So
In this case, it doesn't matter because San Francisco was better both offensively and defensively than Kansas City.
Correct, and that's what I wanted to let people know. San Francisco's offense by SRS rating, if you compare it with Kansas City's defense, is better. So when San Francisco has the ball, they get the SRS advantage. Now, if you look at Kansas City, and this is hard to believe, but they actually are at a negative 0.6.
Now, why is that? They weren't a bad team.
That's what they can't. That is an actual offense, defense, strength of schedule. That's what Pro Football Reference came up with. That is a little surprising. The 1990 Giants had a 0, a goose egg, and their defense had this very high rating, just to let you know. So a negative 0.6 versus San Francisco's defensive rating of a 4.7. So when Kansas City's offense is against San Francisco's defense, San Francisco always has the dice advantage. Okay. So basically, blanket in this game, no matter what, I'm coaching San Francisco, I will have a 10 base dice advantage every roll. But this is just to determine who gets a dice roll
for essentially what column we're reading the major dice roll on.
Correct. So Ron and I are about to roll. Ron has the ball first. We're both going to roll just to determine which person's chart to read off of, because there's going to be another dice roll. So Ron, I guess we can go ahead and roll.
All right. And so if you have any questions, let us know and we can get to them while we're playing. So
okay. So I'm going to roll.
Yes.
I got a 55.
Oh, that's nice. I got 12.
Okay.
So we're
now
reading
my 55 becomes a 65.
Right.
So here's the way it works. I won the dice roll. Ron is on offense. So what I will do is I will roll And there is no SRS advantage when you're rolling off your chart.
Right.
You're just going straight up off your chart. I'm going to roll, and whatever is in the field is what happens. So
So
here's my
he'll roll
roll.
as a San Francisco defense, and then when he
Correct.
gives the result, then we can read it off the screen. So roll low.
Okay, I rolled a 45.
And so
So
that's it.
according to the chart on San Francisco's defense, a 25 or higher is a change of possession. Now it means a punt by Ron, normal circumstances, his drive ins and a punt. There is a rule that if you roll a 63 or 64, Ron has fumbled the ball away. And a 65 or 66, it's an interception. That's the way the drive ends. In this case, Ron has to punt. Okay.
I
Now
punted.
for each quarter, every team gets 3 possessions. So every team gets 12 possessions in the whole game. This being said, that's the actual average of possessions that happens in an actual football game. So Ron will roll again. Now I'm on offense. You're on defense. We both roll to see whose chart to use.
26.
I rolled a 52. So that gets bumped up to a 62.
Right.
So now what happens is I roll off of my offensive chart, San Francisco's offensive chart. So what
So he
I
would.
roll
Yep.
is what happens.
So on 11 to 26, if he rolls that, it's a touchdown. A 31's a field goal, or a 32 or higher, I force a turnover or punt.
It's a punt. It's 44. So San Francisco has to punt the ball away. And we just keep going this very simple, basic philosophy. Yep. So Ron now, as Kansas City has the ball, and we both roll to see whose chart to go off of.
24.
I rolled a 25.
Wow, it's because so here's the first case of where the SRS actually matters. Because
it does. I beat you by 1 anyway.
Right.
But okay, so Ron has the ball. So I will roll off of my defensive chart and see what happens here. I rolled a 36. So that's another punt.
There we go.
All right, here we go. Now it's San Francisco's ball.
The excitement just never ends here. All right. So essentially, I need to roll really high to get it onto my card, which I did not. It's 26.
I rolled a 55, which technically is a 65 because I have their S. Now, if you roll a 66, it does become a 76 because what if Ron rolled a 66? There's your tiebreaker. So San Francisco's on offense. So I'm now going to roll off the San Francisco chart to see what they did. I rolled a 66. That is an interception by Kansas City.
Woohoo! Now, do I get to return that?
No. It just means that's how it ends. It's not a possible return for a touchdown.
Okay.
I thought about doing that, but the statistics are so low on that. There's not. I made this to be statistically accurate in a way. So it's so low that it wouldn't be realistic. So now it's Ron's ball, and we both roll to see which chart to go off of.
Ha! Beat a 66.
I rolled a 24. With the SRS, it's a 34. No matter what, Ron wins. So Ron is on offense. He rolls for his chart.
So for the first time today, Mahomes is in control of his offense.
He is.
And Pompey rolls a 46.
I'm afraid that's a punt.
Yep. All right. So last position for you in the first quarter.
Okay. So we both roll to see whose chart to go off of.
14.
22. So San Francisco has the ball. I will roll for the San Francisco chart. 64. A fumble recovered by Kansas City. Back-to-back turnovers.
All right.
So this Super Bowl is tied scoreless at the end of 1. It's a low-scoring game.
I even put up the auto sum to add up all the high scoring. Can't you tell?
Goose egg plus goose egg.
Goose egg plus goose egg. Reba McEntire so far is the winner of Super Bowl 58. So San Francisco turns it over twice in the first quarter.
Yep. And that's
So
how we start the second quarter with Mahomes now has the ball. So let's roll
okay.
for the charts.
You'll be reading off of yours because I rolled a 13.
I rolled a 64. So San Francisco is
Like
on
you
defense.
you need any help.
San Francisco's on defense. Will their defense hold or will they allow Kansas City to score?
And
I
the
rolled a
answer is
44, so it's a punt.
all right. 15.
Okay. 51. Wow, I'm getting these good rolls. If I had based the dice rolls lower, you'd be running me over.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm rolling for San Francisco's offense.
Yep.
Oh, I got a 16.
But you got to
That
roll
is
for
a
the extra point.
touchdown. Now, extra point, you do roll for the extra point. So on the chart, you will see that for San Francisco, there's an XP, extra point. 11 through 65 dice roll, it's good. If I roll a 66, they miss. This is ace based off of actual percentage.
Right.
You'll see for Ron's for Kansas City, it says auto. That means that Kansas City made every extra point. In real life, there's no need to roll. They get it by default. I'm not going for 2. I'm going to kick the extra point. Here's my roll. A 64. I just made it. I just barely made it. Wow. That was close. Maybe that was a doink and it went in.
A doink for sure, but
A
in the second
doink.
quarter, it's the 49ers 7, the Kansas City Chiefs nothing. We're not going to spend $7 million for 30 seconds. And it doesn't really matter what you roll, you're going to beat a 12.
55. Get these good.
Jeez.
In case anybody thinks I'm pulling their leg, I'm willing to share the screen. But
No, no. I mean, Dave and I have done the dice roll thing before, and it's all even up.
I rolled a 46.
You rolled a 46, so Kansas City again.
Has to punt. All right, so here comes San Francisco with the ball. Let's roll for the charts.
Oh, I might have a chance here. 44.
55. So I'm running
You
from
playing
San
with
Francisco.
pinochle dice or something like that?
Let's see. Can I share my screen? I just want to prove to you that I'm not.
Go ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead.
hang on a second. I got to go to present. Share screen. Where is it? Window, dice. Boom. I rolled a 55.
I believe you. Now he's actually doing this in Raider colors.
Oh, wow. I didn't stop to think about that. That's
And
just
we
happenstance.
are in Vegas, so all
Okay,
right.
so now I'm rolling off the San Francisco chart for
Yes.
offense. Let's see if I can score. I rolled a 63, which is a fumble.
So your third
3
turnover,
turnovers by San Francisco, a
and you're up
pick and 2
7-0.
fumbles, and I'm winning 7-0. Let's see if Kansas City, this is their last possession before the half. Let's see if they can do something.
24.
26.
Okay, so we're reading off the San Francisco defense.
Now, the way to look at it is this. Let's say I roll and it says that Ron scores a touchdown. That means that my defense failed is the way to look at it. They just messed up, and here comes Ron. Well, let's see what I roll. Oh, boy, did they fail. 11.
Woohoo!
That is a touchdown. Kansas City, no need to roll the extra point. It is good by default. So they tie the game towards the end of the half. Now,
you have one more
possession before halftime. It's San Francisco. They get the ball. So we'll both roll for the chart.
22.
I got rolled a 16, but my SRS advantage makes it a 26.
Okay.
So that means that San Francisco has the ball. I'll be rolling off for my chart. A 63. I coughed it up, and that's the end of the half. So 4 turnovers by San Francisco in the first half. Kansas City's defense is playing out of their minds. We have a pick and 3 fumbles. So that's the end of the half. Ron, what's the score?
At the end of 30 minutes, it's the San Francisco 49ers 7, the Kansas City Chiefs 7.
Okay, as we start the third quarter, the
So
way it works is because San
you get,
Francisco kicked off, they get the first possession of the third quarter. So they actually get back-to-back possessions, if you will.
yep.
So here we go. We'll roll for possession.
62.
66.
Oh,
I'm not kidding. I'll share the screen.
no, I believe you. I believe.
Which makes it a 76. Okay, so now I'm going to roll for my offensive
I'm
chart.
nice enough to host him tonight, and this is what he does.
Yeah, and you're not going to like what I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
I rolled a 26, which is just barely
Uh,
a touchdown.
They pull Detroit Lions, go for it on 4th and goal and score.
And got it. Now I do need to roll for the extra point. As long as I don't roll a 66, it's good. I rolled a 33. So San Francisco takes the lead, 14-7 at the beginning of the third quarter.
Okay.
And here comes Uncle Ron.
54.
I'm rolling. You hate me. 56. That means that San Francisco is going to read off of their defensive chart, meaning that if Kansas City scores, San Francisco's defense faltered. Let's see. Oh, I rolled a 23.
Oh, we got a field goal.
So Kansas City is able to get a no. I rolled a 23, sir. That's a touchdown.
No.
You scored a touchdown.
No,
Wait a minute. It's my defense,
it's your
right?
defense,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, I'm rolling off of my defense. That's correct. I allowed a field goal. That's correct. I stand corrected. That's a field goal. All right.
I mean,
the wrong chart.
I'll take it, but
Oh,
it
no.
really
After further review, the ruling on the field's overturned. The field goal's good. There.
Never take points off the board. It's your ball. It's a 13.
42.
Okay.
So I am rolling for my offense.
Yes.
42 again. That's a punt.
Okay. Second KC possession of the quarter. 55.
And I roll a 61. You hate me. Okay.
Didn't he play in the XFL, the original version? He hate me. That's not smart.
Remember that.
Yeah.
I rolled a 52, so it's a punt.
All right. So San Francisco's last possession of the third quarter.
Yep.
45.
56. Which is a 66
with
the SRS.
Yeah.
So San Francisco rolls for, and I rolled a 13.
Dun, 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 dun.
San Francisco gets a touchdown. I'll roll for the extra point. 12. It's good.
All right. Last possession of the third quarter. Mahomes and company are down 11. Tony Romo's passed out in the booth. They've had to bring up Phil Simms down from the NFL today to help Jim Nance, who's now drinking quite heavily.
And no more camera shots of Taylor Swift.
Not at this point. She's back on the plane to Tokyo. 52.
13.
Yay!
So you won the dice roll. Okay.
I get to roll off my own card. Yay!
Yay, you do.
So
here comes Kansas City on offense. What do you got, Ron?
34.
That's a punt.
That's a punt. And so after 45 minutes, it's San Francisco 21, Kansas City 10.
Okay, here we go with the fourth quarter.
35.
62.
You don't need any more help.
No. So I'm rolling for my offense.
Yep.
44. It's a punt.
Woohoo! All right. The Chiefs down 11. 33.
42.
Of course.
Why do I like 42? What is this?
You've
Hitchhiker's
reached,
Guide to the
yeah,
Galaxy?
you've reached the end of the universe.
Yeah, apparently.
All right, you're
Okay.
rolling for on the defense.
And my roll on defense is a 46, so that's a punt. All
So
right.
you are one score from putting this thing away.
Potentially, yeah. Let's see. I rolled a 25.
Uh-oh. Yeah, you beat me. I rolled a 15.
Wow. I gave you a gift. Okay, so San Francisco on
Yeah.
offense. 26. Touchdown. And the extra point, it's good. It's a 53. It was kind of wonky going in there, but it's good.
The 80s have called. They want their Super Bowls back.
Yeah, apparently. What is it, 28-10?
28-10.
There's
Remember,
technically,
it's a 1.5 spread, which I was surprised. It was that I'm honestly, after the last 2 weeks, surprised that Kansas City was a dog, but apparently,
I can, eh, the way I think it's going to happen is I understand San Francisco being favored, and I would agree with that, not by much. I think that this is right.
yeah, point and a
But
half on a neutral field. I mean, that's pretty even.
yeah, I think Kansas City is going to win for two reasons. They have experience, and that matters in these games.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, because they're Kansas City, and the NFL probably doesn't want to have it any other way. Ref ball.
All right, here we go. Taylor's gassing up the jet.
Oh, I rolled a 61.
Why did I even bother? It's a 34. Go ahead. Roll.
Okay, so I'm rolling off of my defensive chart. 56.
Okay. And the San Francisco 49ers are going to win the Super Bowl.
Sure looks like it.
It's your last possession.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 52.
Ha! 65.
Okay.
So
So
I haven't had too many of these in the ball game. I get the chance to roll.
well, and that's part of the thing
I
about
like it.
the SRS rating is you're trying to be, you hit the right dice rolls, there can absolutely be upsets.
Oh, yeah.
But the odds are against you if you're putting up with a more dominant offense or defense that you have to compete with. The rolls are stacked against you deliberately, just like real life. That was kind of the point. Okay, so I'm rolling.
No, I'm rolling.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's only happened a couple
You
times today.
probably want my roll, but what did you get?
I got a 51. We
Oh.
forced a punt. What'd you roll?
I rolled a 22. That's a touchdown.
No, that would have been a field goal.
22 for San Francisco.
No, I'm reading off Kansas City. That would have been you would have gotten a field
wait
goal.
a minute. I'm on defense. That would have been a field goal. You're right.
Right.
Now, but here's an option in the game because this is the last possession.
I'm down 18. I'm not going to win. So.
Right. But here's the deal. If it's a tight game and you are down by a score, and let's say you don't score or you get a field goal, you have the option of it's called go for it.
Right.
Because it's basically like change of possession. It's fourth down. You want to put the ball away. So what I did in the game was if it's your last possession and you're down, it could be two scores. Like you need a score plus get an onside kick. So the last possession for you, if you're losing by 1 or 2 scores and you get a change of possession roll or it's a field goal, you can say, I'm going for it. The field goal is wiped off the board. It's now fourth down. You both roll again with the same SRS rules. And that is the deciding role about what happens on the drive. So let's say you do score. Okay, you can go for 2 if you want, whatever.
Right.
Then the very last possession, if you're still losing, you can do an onside kick and try to steal this last possession away to try to get a game
So
winning
would
or
so
game
how
tying
would
score.
how would the onside kick be resolved?
Each person rolls their dice. There's no SRS, but the team that is on the defense gets not a 1, but a 2 10 die bonus because it's a lot harder to
Right, it's
actually.
like a 3 or 4% chance, I think, this year, right?
It was like 12%. But what I did was, and Dave Gardner mentioned this because originally I had it 50-50. I changed the rules that it's a
Right.
2 dice, a 2 10 sided dice roll advantage to the receiving team, but it can still happen.
Right.
So if that happens and you succeed, then this is the end of the game, how it happens. But in our case, this is
Yeah.
the end of the game.
This is the end of the game.
Okay. I rolled a
Yeah.
24.
I haven't rolled yet, so
Okay. I understand.
I gotta be a 34? I don't, it's a 33.
No, I rolled a oh, because of the SRS.
Right.
Right. So Kansas City. So I'm going to roll off my defense.
Yeah.
51. So basically, you went for 4th down. You didn't get it. Kansas City, I mean, San Francisco takes a knee. The game's over. So
I
that's our Super Bowl.
for
Or I
the
didn't
couple
say
of you
that. That's
watching
our
live,
championship game. That's our
have you
championship
got
game.
any questions for what you saw? And we're gonna take a couple minutes here to ask. I don't know if you got the chance to listen to the show that Dave and I taped yesterday.
I heard part of it, but then I fell asleep, and then I heard a noise, and I woke up, and it was over. And that basically, what was in my
Usually,
basically what was in
my
my
wife,
ears was
m-
something
m-
crazy.
my wife has told me for years that I bore people to sleep, so that's okay.
No, I was in bed, and I was like, it was like going to sleep, listening to it, and then I remember up to a point, and then my wife walked in the room, and I woke up, and then there's like I don't know what the video was. It just went to the next video.
Okay.
So
You are primarily known as a football guru. I mean, it's very nice that you come in and watch the baseball stuff too, but you are primarily a football guru. You're the one of the lead graphic modders for Pro Strategy Football and
Well,
all that.
well, I don't do the graphics. I've built the teams.
You built
I've helped build the teams. Lee and Dream Teams are traditionally built the graphics. Um, but yeah, and it took us
it took
years to
right.
do it.
And so my question to you is what do you think needs to happen for more people to make football their primary sim sport? Why do you think that? I mean, this has the one point I disagree with Dave with yesterday. I don't know if you heard it. I read through all the comments and he did a good job in breaking them all down. Is that my point of view is that it's been primarily a football country really since the late 70s as far as football becoming equal with baseball in popularity and then eventually passing baseball in popularity. But yet, in that poll that Jen Henson did for Sports Sims magazine, it's still 2/3 of the people primarily play baseball. What do you see are the limitations for football games, and what would I'm not trying to pit one sport against the other, but I was really
Right.
surprised it was still that high in favor of baseball.
I think that baseball is probably easier and faster to
Hmm.
play. And it's not 11 on 11 with substitutions if, depending on how, hardcore it is.
Hmm.
Baseball, you've got your bullpen, you got, your defensive lineup, your outfield, you got all that, but it's not nearly as many players.
Hmm.
Um, it's a simpler game to play, and I'll tell you something else. Here's what I think for stat nuts. In a lot of ways, baseball, for the most part, hasn't changed.
Right.
I mean, there have been some like this year with the clock for the pitcher. You got to pitch it or it's a ball or whatever. I mean, but so if you were to put teams historically against one another, there's potentially better realism
Yes.
than if you were to take somebody from the 1950s and put them up against, and that was actually a lot of ways Iron Man football compared to now. So the realism factor, and it's very hard, realistic wise, to do football than it is baseball.
Hmm.
How do you, I mean, offensive linemen, there are no stats for them.
Right.
There's no data to go off of except he's good and he's average and he's poor or whatever. And that has an effect on it. With baseball, there's stats everywhere.
As a kid, you get the football cards and you flip it over for the lineman, and there were no stats. So you just
It
kind of
might have their
skipped
height
over
and
it.
weight,
Right. I mean,
age, where they went to college.
right. It's like, oh, you went to Notre Dame. I really don't want to read the back of your card then. I mean,
I've got a Notre Dame hater.
oh, yeah. Uh, you know, in my 50s, it's important to have a rational hatred for two things: Ohio State and Notre Dame are them. But although
When it comes to college football, I really don't care.
I stopped
I had
watching a
favorite
long time
teams. I
ago,
really
but
don't care. The sport's fine. I just don't care who wins it. College. I went to uh, VCU, U of R, um, this past weekend with my father and my son.
also Virginia Commonwealth and
Yeah,
and the University of
University
Spiders.
of Richmond, and that was a high ticket game. And my dad actually gets tickets to that. And he called, and it's more about my son.
Right.
He likes basketball. I'm whatever with basketball. The only thing I'm interested in is the tournament. I love seeing a little school I never heard of upset North Carolina. I'm just picking a big school. I love that kind of stuff. That's the only time I really care. But father son time,
Oh,
grandfather
that's
time.
irreplaceable. Absolutely.
Yeah, it is. And he was rooting, he was screaming. He wanted VC to win, and they won. Um, and actually, I need to talk to him because my dad has who are they playing Dayton tomorrow. Um,
On a
they're like number
Friday.
one in their conference or something,
Oh, okay.
and it's like a high ticket. Yeah, I've got to go talk to him, my son, because he has an extra ticket. Wants to see if he wants to go.
Oh,
Otherwise,
nice.
we'll give it to somebody else.
So, what do you think would make people want to play? We talked about the problems with football, but I mean, Carrie Bats is a very good game out there. Graphically, it's as good as you're going to get without, especially for just a small operation that it is.
Yeah,
What do you think would make people want to play more football?
I'll be honest with you. I think a lot of people are just spent because I mean, I enjoyed playing the older consoles,
Mm-hmm.
and I still love Tecmo Super Bowl. Oh,
Great.
I actually, as a bucket list thing, I went to a tournament several years ago. I
Oh,
drove
did
all the
you?
way to New Jersey by
Wow.
myself just to play in one as a bucket list thing. And
Wow.
it was a lot. I got destroyed. I didn't care. I mean, you think you're good at these games, like some games you'll play on, you'll play, the computer and you master and you're like, okay, I'll play online, and you go online thinking you're going to be all this and you get schooled.
Oh, I
I
bet.
mean, you get destroyed. And you're like, where did this come from? And then you end up learning and becoming a better player. Um, what I think has happened is the monopoly that owns the exclusive rights. And there has been so much frustration. I really
Mhm,
think this is part of the equation. It's not everything because we're talking about different kinds of games, cards and
mhm.
dice, simulation games, and all that. We're talking different kinds of games. But I really think that part of it is just absolute frustration that there's nothing out there. You have one choice for this
Right.
license. That's it, the end. And people are just fed up and they just give up and they're just done. And I'm one of them. I really am one of them. I mean, something like um, a second and 10 or action PC or a pro strategy or what, it's refreshing, but I just think it's just aggravating. And people are, they're hoping for 2K version and they keep talking about it. It gets postponed. They're hoping for college and, people are just done. I think literally, I think that's part of the equation.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. And as a one button at a time person, I really haven't played a lot of console football since the Sega Genesis was retired.
And that was a good system for its time.
It was.
Did you ever play? Did you mess with Joe Montana football? I think that was on Sega, wasn't it?
That was the official Sega game. No, I bought Madden. I bought Madden 94, whatever year that they introduced the ambulance when someone
Like
got hurt.
93. Oh, was it 93 or 94? Oh, the
Yeah.
ambulance. Oh, that's hysterical.
NHL, I think the first version of NHL I bought was 95.
Oh,
And,
you missed the 94, what's considered like the
oh,
greatest.
that's the gold standard. That's the
Yeah.
absolute gold standard.
And see,
for
and
that.
there's something else. It's hard, regardless of what game, you get a great flash in the pan like Tecmo Bowl or NHL 94.
Mhm.
Heck, NBA Jam.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even like pro basketball, and that game is a
Boom
blast.
shakalaka,
Yeah, how do you not
Mhm.
like a game like that? But that's it, and you're talking decades ago, and it's like, what? Something exists? I don't know. I'm just
Yeah,
so
it's a
done that it's frustrating.
oh,
I literally
absolutely.
think that's part of the problem.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. So before we go, family football, have you played it with your dad or your kid?
No, I've talked to my son about it. My dad, he's not for any of that. He brags about, oh, my son made this and my son did that, and but he's not interested. I sent him a picture of he loves baseball, and I sent him a picture of Action PC Baseball 2024, and I was just simming I sent him a quick little video. I was
Mhm.
just simming like a 1920s game. And I was saying, look at this. I mean, it's actual numbers, and they have bubblegum cards moving around of
Yeah.
the old players, and he's like, yeah, okay, that's nice. I don't really care. I figured you might, but
It's such a niche thing. It's such a niche
it
thing.
is. It's very niche. It is. It is very niche, and that's another factor. Your your audience is not EA level,
No.
and I don't see it being that way. But if we all can just enjoy, I mean, we have a nice group online
Mhm.
of people who respect each other. We just want to have fun.
Mhm.
Uh, if that, I'm sure there's going to be growth to it, but I mean, if we have our own private thing, who cares? I
Yeah,
mean,
I think there has been some growth over the last couple of years. I mean, just
there
certainly
has.
the amount of games that are now out there. I mean, yours and again the work that you and the whole mod team did for Pro Strategy Football, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot out there now. I've said for a long time that this is the golden age of sports gaming
For in this
in
context,
this context. Not necessarily. I'm
I
talking
think
about
there's truth to that. Yes.
not the consoles, but I'm talking
No,
about
in the
what we're
context of what kind of games you're talking about.
right.
Yeah, I never play card and dice sports games. I never did. And I had been toying with, because I was watching all these videos, and I'm like, I mean, I was intrigued, but I was like, can I get into this? Do I? And I originally was making family football, but it was going to be a lot grander
Hmm.
with individual players and stats, and I was making it all complicated, and I'm like, this is probably going to get lost because there's so many of
Right.
those games out there that are like that. So what if I did the complete opposite and just went super simple and you can knock it out in a few minutes? That felt accurate. Hey, Sports Time Machine. That's a channel I once in a while take a peek in on.
Yeah, Mike's very good.
Yeah, I try to pop in. I think, who was it, Bernard? I popped in and I said, "Sup?" And he was like, "Mike in the truck is here. I didn't know
Mm.
you ever watched any of my stuff."
Yeah.
I just like type and it's truthful. Every once
Yeah,
in a while I'll pop in.
Bertie's one of our newer streamers. He's very good at what he does.
Oh, he's fantastic at what he does, and I hope he continues his
Yeah, me too.
baseball.
Me too.
No, I really do. I know he's
Yeah,
a big Red Sox and Patriots fan, but anyway, it's a different topic.
he grew up in New England, okay?
I actually lived in Connecticut for 5 years, so I
It depends
experienced
on where in
plenty of that.
Connecticut you grew up, where you lived.
Outside of Hartford.
Okay, that's New England.
Yeah.
We don't claim Fairfield County.
Well, that's New York.
That's right. That's exactly
That's
right.
literally part of the New York market.
Yes.
Literally part of the New York market is Connecticut, the southern tip of Connecticut.
So
Yep.
tell me what drove you before we go to create this game. What's your target audience for this game and all that?
Well, because I want to go the opposite way, make it simple. I'm like, who would be interested in this? And I would still want to make it accurate with the realistic result. So what I did was I thought about myself in that
Mm-hmm.
I never played any of these games, and here I am trying to build one,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm actually think it's actually got, niche potential and all that. But
Absolutely.
I wasn't out to make $1 million. It's free, but I wasn't out for anything like that. I just wanted
Mm-hmm.
to share it. So here I am, never doing this, never playing any of these games before. I toyed around, I watched videos, I downloaded Fast Drive football. I
Mm-hmm.
actually now have a big folder of stuff I've printed out, and I
A
did the same thing
tremendous
for
game.
and I did the same thing for his baseball game. And I went out and got
Also a
dice on
tremendous
him.
game.
Yeah, and I went out and got dice, and I have it sitting on a shelf. And I did toy 2 or 3 times with football. I mean, I already built my game. I already knew what I wanted. I'm like, well, let me
Mm-hmm.
see what this free game does. And it tells a story per se,
Mm-hmm.
which is great. You don't have to worry about stats well, I mean, you can. Um,
But that's not what it's designed for.
right, right. I mean, but you can find out now with the more advanced, you can roll for, okay, this quarterback threw a touchdown to this receiver, it was a
Right.
halfback or whatever. And technically, I could do the same thing in this game. All I have to do is what percent of on offense and defense were touchdowns were running or passing, and then do okay, which quarterback, which receiver, blah blah blah. You could do the same thing for interceptions, who got the
Mm-hmm.
interception and all that. But I'm just like, I started looking at that. I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna stop. Just keep it simple. So that's why I named it family football. It's meant for anybody in the family, grandpa, grandchild.
I had an
They can
uncle that
both do it, and grandpa can be like, I'm going to take my Colts, the Baltimore from the 50s, and I'm going to put them up against your Chiefs of today. I think I could take you.
you can.
That's what I was aiming for.
I had an uncle who's no longer with us that would come up every Thanksgiving, and I had a little machine game called Instant Replay Football, and
Mm-hmm.
it was flip cards. It was like a with a motor in it, and so you would run plays and keep track of on the field where they were. And a couple of times on Thanksgiving, we played, waiting for dinner to be cooked, and it wasn't a possession, it was like a play-by-play. I think we did like a quarter at a time or something like that. Remember, there was a house rule that you couldn't try a field goal from over 50 yards because there was no limit for where you could be. You're not making a 98-yard field goal.
99-yard field goal.
There you go, Tony.
99 and a half.
99
Sorry.
and a
A
half. There we
half.
go. Yeah, absolutely. He would have loved this because there
Yeah.
wasn't any, I was thinking of him when I was doing it offline when you first showed it to us. It's like, this would have been the game that I would have pulled out at Thanksgiving and said, "Who do you want?" And we'll do it, even if it was just the Lions and the Cowboys or what. I mean,
Right.
that's the type of thing. And again, you don't need to know anything about football. You just need to
No.
learn how. So that's great.
You don't have to be a big strategist. Basically, you're rolling, okay, which chart are we going off of? Okay, did I score or not? And
Right.
how was it, a touchdown or a field goal? And it's the end. I mean, that's it. But the results that are coming out are within the specifications of what those teams did in real life. So you're not going to have, unless you're playing like New England from '07 against the winless Tampa team from 76. You're not going to have like a 56-0 game unless it's something like that,
Right.
realistically speaking. So,
So you all run to FanDuel now, and you take you take the under, and you take the 49ers, and you take the point and a half.
bet straight up the score. It's 28-10 San Francisco. Boom.
All right. Well, I'm off tomorrow because I have another family function to go to. The plan is, I don't know what I'm doing over the weekend, but watch the Facebook group. There might be a doubleheader for baseball Sunday morning at 11:30 to get you ready for whatever that football thing is at night. So, hey, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you doing it. And family, what's the website?
Well, it's
Where do we find it?
I do have a website. It's a Wix free site, but here's what you can do. I had a friend tell me about this, not cards and dice related. He made a role playing game and he put it
Oh,
online for sale. And he told me about it's a place called Drive Through Fill in the Blank, and there is drivethroughcards.com.
yes.
So you can go to drivethroughcards.com, do a search for family football,
Oh,
and it's there as well. And I've had over, and I launched it at the end of November. And from them, there is a counter. I've had a little over 100 downloads
oh, nice.
from there. I can't answer from the website. There's no difference between the website I have and Drive
Right.
Through Cards. It's the exact same game, exact same files. Everything's the same. So you can download it there for free and, kick the tires on it, have a few laughs. And that's it. If you enjoy it, great. If not, thanks for, giving us 10 minutes of your time.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And again, the final score from Vegas. Brent Musburger is really happy. It's the 49ers 28, the Kansas City Chiefs 10. We'll talk to you at some point over the weekend. Have a good one, everybody. So long.
Have a good one.